The GTA's housing market has been very muted last month as buyers and sellers wait to see if the Bank of Canada will, in fact, lower interest rates. So let's talk about the latest numbers with Jason Mercer, Chief Market Analyst at the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. Jason, good to see you. You didn't time these numbers because of the Bank of Canada rates. It's just coincidental you're here today, but it really does play massively into this conversation, doesn't it? I mean, if the rates go down, what do you expect may happen on the market?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, buyers have been taking a real wait-and-see attitude as we move through the first half of 2024 in anticipation of the Bank of Canada cutting rates. And so, they very well may see the first of those today. And our polling suggests that there are a lot of, willing buyers sitting on the sidelines, waiting to see tangible evidence that rates are going to trend lower. And once they start, I think we'll start to see a pickup in sales.
So let's talk about the month we just saw, May, down significantly from just May of 2023. And it's interesting because May of 23 was still in the same interest rate increasing period. But what's been the main difference there?
Yeah, I mean, this time last year, there was a bit of a false start in the market. So we actually had a relatively strong spring, and we didn't see anything in the way of relief on the mortgage rate front last year. And so we started to see sales tail off again. And we're sort of been in that holding pattern ever since. And so when you compare this year to last, we're down quite a bit. But again, once we start to see some relief on the mortgage rate front, I think we'll see a lot of these buyers that are in a holding pattern move back into the marketplace.
And there's always a sort of up and a down in this market. It seems right now buyers are in a pretty good position at this point, aren't they?
Yeah, and I mean, that's one of the things. When you see higher borrowing costs, something has to give to sort of mitigate that impact. And what we've seen is more choice in the market. So buyers who have been active out there in the GTA marketplace have had more negotiating power. So we're actually seeing prices a little bit lower than what we saw this time last year.
Jason, are you forecasting at all? I mean, let's say, for example, that there is a 25 basis point cut today and then maybe another 1 or 2 by the end of the year. What that could do to the market? I mean, you talk about pent-up demand and sort of interest. Like, what do you think could happen, I suppose, really pricing-wise ultimately?
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of the year, we released our forecast and we were predicting, more sales in 2024 than what we saw in 2023. And we did say that would be back-end loaded to the second half of this year because, we felt that the Bank of Canada was going to be in somewhat of a holding pattern until the spring or summer. And so the expectation is that we'll see, stronger monthly sales levels in the second half of this year, even though we're getting through the spring market now.
And I know you're a market analyst, but psychology plays so much into this, doesn't it? I mean, just the mindset of people, once you see borrowing rates come down, it's kind of an indicator that perhaps more financially affordable times are ahead for buying. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, the psychology plays into what we saw this time last year. There was sort of the thought that the Bank of Canada may be cutting rates in 2023, and that didn't come to pass. And so now people are like, you know what, I actually need to see that press release from the Bank of Canada that says, hey, rates are coming down before I move into the market.
We've got about half an hour to wait till Tiff Macklem does make that announcement. We'll have it live on CP24. But I also want to talk about, here we are, we're sitting in Toronto. It was interesting looking at your GTA breakdown of prices and where prices are dropping. As a Halton resident, I was kind of keen to notice prices there down about almost 5 or 6%. It's an interesting dichotomy.
Yeah, and it's important to note too, when you're looking at sort of monthly data and average prices, there is sort of a compositional effect as well. And so, for example, in Halton region, you got a lot of higher end homes out there, and if you don't see as many of those types of transactions, sometimes that'll push the average down. It gets a little bit volatile from month to month. I think on the whole, though, as we move through the second half of this year and even more so into 2025, you are going to see market conditions tighten up. There will be more competition between buyers. And so, regardless of the neighborhood, I think you will see more upward pressure on pricing.
I got to get one of those high-end homes in Halton someday. Listen, Jason Mercer, always appreciate the time.
Thanks
so much for breaking down these numbers. We'll see what happens coming up in about half an hour's time.